Here's my audience for the culture speech. Good afternoon. My name is Jaden Hawkins, and I attend Columbia State Community College. And this is my problem and solution speech that I'm going to be presenting to you today. There was a time when practically every NBA superstar stayed in college. Players such as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Oscar Robertson, and Larry Bird all stayed in college 4 years. And they were all extremely high draft picks in the NBA. But they could have left their first year, but they just chose not to because things were different back then. But now times have changed and things are very, very different. Making high school players go to college for at least 1 year is not benefiting them in any way. The NBA only implemented this rule because they see players as investments, and they wanted 1 extra year to look at them, to have the scouts look at them and evaluate them. The NBA and this topic has always been a thought of mine, and I'm a great fan of the NBA. I love the NBA. I watch it almost every day, and I just wanted to find a solution to this problem. The list of eventual true Hall of Famers who made the jump from high school to the NBA include players like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Tracy McGrady, and Kevin Garnett. This shows that this is a very doable thing, and some of the greatest have came from high school and made the jump to the NBA. Why the rule is implemented? The rule is implemented because businessmen of the NBA, which is the NBA GMs, the NBA commissioner, he's a businessman, and they all do business. They said that it had to do with high school failures, but basically that's not what it had to do with. It had to do with that players in the NBA were coming out of the NBA and coming out of high school and going to the NBA from high school, and they were becoming failures. They tried to say that, but in actuality, it was actually just because these businessmen wanted to look at their investments, as they called them, players, wanted to look at them and evaluate them for more than a year. And then they put in this rule, the one and done rule, that basically states no longer could a player make the leap from high school. And the new rule stated that draftees must be at least 19 years old that draft year, and they also, if it's an international player, they must be 1 year graduated from high school. Even though they say this is the reason, the one and done rule was put into place because it had nothing to do with high school failures. The new commissioner, Adam Silver, is taking tiny baby steps to improve on this. And the first thing he's done is met with NCAA leaders, met with the NBA Players Association, and he's met with owners and talked about this just to see how they feel. While this is a great step in the right direction, no immediate action has been taken. The NBA's reasoning behind this rule is ridiculous, considering they say this rule is for players, when this rule is not for players. This rule is for GMs and people who have the money invested into the NBA. So many college freshmen treat their experience in college as a complete joke, especially if they are destined for the NBA in their future. A quote taken from FTW USA Today states that Ben Simmons was interviewed and was asked, "Was there a point in you going to college?" He said, I think there was no point in me going to college. In fact, I learned more in my first year in the NBA in Philadelphia than I learned in my entire college experience." This is just another reason why freshmen should not be why high school seniors should not be forced into going into college if they already have the talent to be in the NBA and they have the talent to make millions of dollars that they've worked hard for their entire life. There needs to be a plan in place when the rule is eliminated. And the things I've came up with are these 3 things. They can implement a system where players go to college and have to stay at least 2 years, or they could create committees for high school teams, and then the committees pick the players from the high school that they think could possibly make it to the NBA. They could also uplift the NBA's G League and turn the G League into something where, like, if you're a high school senior, you can enter the G League and start making a little money, maybe not multi-millions like these superstars, but yeah. And then when the NBA implemented the one and done rule, they didn't really think about the future outcomes. They decided that they want to minimize the risk of a high school player, and that is totally ridiculous. When it comes to picking a player in the draft, there's no exact science behind it all, and there's no just right way to do it. But if you're drafting a player, you can choose to draft a high school player, or you can choose to draft a college player, and it's really up to the team that's doing it. Thank you.